So this is our first taste of the new Civic, the 10th generation 2016 Honda Civic. It's a C segment car, and the one we're getting the first taste of here in New York, on the border of New York and Connecticut, is the sedan. Yes, we want to drive the Si. Yes, we really want to drive the Type R, because that's going to be the king, badass, crazy one, and it's going to be sick. It's going to be awesome, and we can't wait till it gets here. But, you know, you got to walk before you run, and that's what we're doing today. We are getting a taste of a new engine, though. Under the hood, we've got a turbocharged engine. It's a 1.5 liter, 4-cylinder unit, and it's good for 174 horsepower and 162 pound-feet of torque. Let me see. Oh, I felt torque steer, actually. So the car gets up and goes. Now, the problem is it's made it to a CVT. There is no manual option here with the turbo engine. There is no automatic transmission option with the turbo engine. You just get the CVT. If you get the base entry-level Civic, you get a 2-liter non-turbocharged motor, which makes about 154 horsepower. That engine can be paired with the CVT like I have here, or you can get a 6-speed manual gearbox. I'd like to drive that car. The wait to drive it is a little long. We'll take a closer look at it later on down the road when I can spend more time with it. But honestly, we're not going to have as much fun in it because I think this engine's going to be the winner. 174 horsepower is pretty good in a car like this. Now, speaking of a car like this is the first Civic where the US team has led the development. It's always been a Japanese-led creation. This time, though, the US has taken the reins, but at the same time, it's a very globally created car. Any area of the world where there's Honda research and development teams, they would focus on the areas that they were best at, and they would bring that knowledge to the team to try to make the best Civic possible. Honda went to Europe. They did a little bit of vacationing in Europe to compare this to other cars in the segment and then segments above. They looked at a lot of the German stuff, like the Audi A3 and cars of that nature. And they wanted to create a car that could theoretically compete with that car. So to do that, they knew they had to instill a slightly sportier driving experience while also refining the interior and keeping it comfortable. And I gotta hand it to them. This is a pretty nice ride in here. The leather-wrapped steering wheel feels great. The screen is crisp and easy to read. The gauge cluster in front of me is also really nicely done. The seating is comfortable. This has the leather seats. This is a fully loaded touring trim, so it has all the bells and whistles. And even with all those bells and whistles, it stickers for just over 26 grand. Fully loaded, out the door Civic, 26 grand. The car starts at just over 18 if you get the 2-liter LX. So it basically goes LX, EX, then you jump to the EXT, then the EXL, and then the Touring, which is what we're in now. This wasn't just about improving one or two areas of the prior gen Civic. They wanted to completely elevate the car as we know it. It is a cornerstone of their brand. It makes up a pyramid of vehicles that sell really well, but at the bottom you have those big three. So it's important that they get this right. So to do that, they couldn't just refine the interior and ignore the handling. They couldn't just give us new engines and then not give us great tech and safety features. They had to do all of it. And it shows, and it's come across nicely. I'm a prior Civic owner myself. I had what I think is the greatest Civic that we got in the States, the 2000 SI, the EM1. One of the best handling front-wheel drive cars I've ever driven. That thing only weighed 2,600 pounds. It was excellent. You know, you could actually feel the road through the hydraulic power steering. Now, this car has, as you would expect, electronic power steering. And it's not bad. There's some decent feedback and feel here, but not as much as I would like. Still, you can chuck it through a corner. I was understeering a little bit, but this car doesn't weigh that much, and it's not that powerful, so you just kind of power through it, let the stability control meter it out. It responds. There's a little bit of a delay that you kind of come to expect with these electronic power steering systems that aren't fully geared towards sporty driving behavior. Now, I hope when we eventually get to the Si and the Type R, you know, we're gonna be in for a treat. We have to. That Type R, I believe it has the front-wheel drive record at the Nürburgring. To do that, the car has to be good to drive. It has to be enjoyable to drive. Well, it doesn't have to be enjoyable, it just has to be good. It can be brutal and fast. But I think it's going to be the best of both worlds. I can't wait till that car comes out. For now, our first taste of the Civic, we're very pleasantly surprised with what we've got here. Seats are comfortable. There's room in the back seat for full-size adults. The level of technology you get is great. You can get this with Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, so you can do all that fun stuff with your phone right on the screen there. All that wonderfully distracted driving things, which somehow, I guess it doesn't distract you, even though it seems like it would be distracting. Regardless, this top-tier version, the Touring, also has a 10-speaker, 450-watt audio system. It has a lot of stuff that you would come to expect in a mid-size and even some full-size sedans, and all of that feature creep has creeped down into these lower segment vehicles. So as these cars get bigger, which, that's just how life is these days, they're also getting a lot of the features too. So yeah, it sucks that the cars are getting huge, but it is kind of awesome that they're also getting better. So since we're not dealing with a car that we want to put it to its limits, everything is more than adequate. The brakes haul in the speed. The steering will get you through your favorite road. The gearbox is the gearbox. But with this turbo engine, you make your torque from 1800 RPM to 5500 RPM, and the CVT is gonna wanna keep you in the power band, the whole time. So maybe it's a match made in heaven, who knows? I really wish they would offer, it, even just in the base trim, the 6-speed manual with this turbocharged engine. It'd be really fun to see how those pair. I do like that they've gone a little bit more aggressive styling-wise on this car. There are a lot of angles and shapes, but it's not as crazy as something, say, from Nissan with the new Maxima, even though that design language, I think, is working for them. This seems to take some of the design language we saw when the new Accord first came out and then spice it up a little bit. Whereas the shoulder line on the Accord goes straight across, here on the Civic, it comes and then hits the front fender and pops up and gets aggressive. And you'll notice the same fender movement on the HR-V, which is pretty cool. You're seeing some shared design language with the lower level of Honda vehicles, and then you see it mature a bit as you get to like the Honda Pilot and the Accord and the CR-V. So we have a car that already kicks ass in its class, and now it's a little bit more comfortable. It has nicer features. The interior layout is much better as far as I'm concerned. The materials used seem nicer. They at least look nicer. I like this textured piece of metal-y plastic right here. It's definitely plastic, but it looks good. There's soft touch points. It looks like it has premium stitching, even though I think that's that fake stitching. But to the eye, it looks nice. It's a very aesthetically pleasing cabin. They've also gotten rid of the traditional e-brake, which, you're not gonna be drifting this thing around corners. So it has the electronic parking brake, which it's freed up space here in the center console. So we've got the sedan here. We'll have a coupe coming. We got the Si coming, we got the Type R coming. One thing I'm surprised that's coming, a 5-door hatchback. That is right. We are getting essentially the estate version of the Civic. And I'm very much looking forward to it. And they better offer it with a manual gearbox, even though they probably won't, but they should, because people aren't going to buy that many of them anyway, even though it's better than a crossover. All right, let's do it, punk-ass bitches. Cone.
Can you back up a tiny bit? There we go. Move. Should be good though.
Is the car all right?
Nope. Yeah, you're all good.
That was awesome. You just saw me run over a cone like a dipshit. Okay. Great. Well, leaving the Lyndhurst estate. So fancy. There's all sorts of high-strength steel being used here. The car is super safe. It's already a safe car. They've improved it even more. They showed us these really cool 3D photorealistic modeling of how the car responds to crashes. And it's actually technology that they really need to get into the next level of video games because it looks awesome. And if you could model your cars and have them crash like that with realistic crash results, that would be the shit. Fat, 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 fatty, fat, fat, fat. Who's Who's that fat guy in that new Civic? He's a fat guy and he's in the Civic.
What else can I tell you about the Civic? Oh, you drive so fast. You're so cool. With your fucking Lumina. Yeah, Lumina. It's just like NASCAR, bro. It's just like you're a NASCAR. You drive just like Jeff Gordon. Look at you go. It's your Lumina. It's a Lumina.
What the hell's an aluminum Falcon? So they have this weird thing for Halloween here where it looks like children are allowed to make scarecrows. It's kind of creepy.